We'll call our meeting to order. Could we have a roll call of members, please, from Secretary Cook?
Mr. Orozco. Present. Mrs. Paez.
Present.
Mrs. Hernandez.
Present.
Mrs. Cameron.
Present.
Mr. Crow present.
Okay, we do have a quorum. If we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
We'd like to welcome everyone tonight, and we will, or this afternoon, whatever it is for us, as we go through our program and recognize some students. But our next is the approval of the agenda.
There are no changes.
No changes.
I'll make the motion.
We have a
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Would you take the roll, please?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Orozco.
Yes.
Mrs. Paez.
Yes.
Mrs. Hernandez.
Yes.
Mrs. Cameron.
Yes.
Mr. Crow, yes.
Okay, the motion carries. All right, now we're to reports and do you want me to announce it?
Sure.
The first one is board recognition tonight for the Spanish spelling bee winners, and Armanda Chavez is here along with Jesus Signs. Are you both here? Okay, Armanda, I guess you're in charge, huh? It's always exciting to have our students and recognize the work that's being done.
Yes, definitely. Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Ms. Superintendent Chavez. It's always wonderful to be able to stand up here in front of you all and celebrate the wonderment of what our kids can accomplish. But Mrs. Cameron was able to attend our Spanish spelling bee this year.
And I got everyone.
She's the winner. The spelling bee did go to the 18th round, and for a spelling bee, that's pretty lengthy. We ended the match at about 9:15 in the evening, and the winning word was cristaleria. Yeah, cristaleria was the name, was the word. Mr. Science, were students able to make it?
She wasn't able to make it.
So we want to celebrate her. First place went to Andrea Garcia, a seventh grader from Red Mountain Middle School, who will be representing Demi on April 29th in Albuquerque on a Saturday. Second place.
I think we should give her a hand.
Second and third place came from Columbus Elementary, were two fifth graders, Kevin Dominguez and Evelyn Fabula.
And they're not here?
All three went all the way to almost
Are the other
17th.
two here?
They're not here.
Okay, well, let's, you can let them know.
Thank you all for letting me.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
you,
Thank you.
thank you. We always like to recognize our kids.
Yes, is something real quick. And Madam President, we also have another group that we're going to recognize, but hold on, kids, because we're going to also approve your trip later. So you're part of our action items as well as our recognition, okay? So hold on, we're going to recognize you.
Okay. All right, next item is our National NEA charity. She's hiding back there.
Madam President, members of the board, and Superintendent Chavez. So NEA Deming has finally started our school visits, and they've gone really well. They've done Baton Elementary, Columbus, and today they did the high school. Our membership, it will be up to, once I get all my paperwork in, just over 170, I think it's gonna be 172, but gotta wait for my final number to go in once I get everything done. So we are increasing membership slowly. We have a fabulous gentleman who came in. He's a teacher in Texas, actually bilingual teacher from Texas. He was working with NMSU with NEA, and he's actually applied for a job today. I believe he finished the stuff for bilingual education to be in our elementary schools. So yay, we're bringing some people in too. I'm really hopeful. I've talked to you before about our Ed Justice Fellowship people. I'm hopeful that one of them at least will be up here next month. I keep pushing them, but you know, doing everything along with all their other routines and jobs and everything and family. So it's taken a little while, but I'm hopeful one of them will be up here next month. I stand for any questions.
Questions? No? Well, thank you, and thank you for the work you're doing with our, between everyone.
Yeah, and collective bargaining. So we decided to just go ahead and wrap last year's into this year's. And we're waiting on one or two more little meetings to go over budget stuff. But other than that, we should have everything in front of you in May and finalize by the end of the year, because I don't want.
For next year.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
We should be able to have that. There you go. Thank
Okay, thank you. All right, next is our student council, Deming High School, Early College High School. Then no,
Actually,
won't be here, as she just said that, right? Our quarterly report from Deming Cesar Chavez Charter High School. Mr. Nunez and Mr. Masters, welcome.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Chavez, yes, thank you for the opportunity. I'll keep it short. We do have, this is a quarterly report from last year, for the most part. Things have changed, of course. We do have, our total students are at 154 right now. We are taking more students. As far as day students, we are above capacity, but what we're doing is we're having students come in the morning and then students come in the afternoon. So although we do have 90 some students, about 94, they do count for one student a day. So we're trying to make sure that we don't overload our teachers. We try to keep our student population to less than 15 in a class. So we're being creative to allow more students to come in during the day, but also during the night. Our attendance rate is really stayed constant. I know it was at 69, it's been 70 for forever. And we're still struggling to get students into the building, but 70% is steady for the most part from last quarter to this new quarter also. As far as graduation goes, unfortunately, we have lost a few students. We were at 32 that were about to graduate. We're now down to 27. And unfortunately, the students they haven't completed their academics, so we are our numbers are dwindling down. But we do have 2 night students, and these are students are barely going to finish right on time. We are exploring again adult education. I know that we did meet with the county, and we are meeting with the detention center people. We're meeting with the county manager, and we're going to try to service students that are incarcerated. It is a need in our community, and we do have Ingenuity, so they have tablets, and so we are going to service those students there. We feel, although they may have done whatever they have done, we care about the education part, and what we want to do is help them attain whatever education they may have. We're hoping that Judge Holback and Judge will join us in this endeavor, and we want to continue to expand servicing these people. We're also still looking to educate people above the age of 21. That's although there's no funding on that, we do want to give opportunity for students that are below 30 that are within reach to get in a high school diploma, and we're going to try to open that. I know that the GED program is here in the county, but we want to make sure that if they can get in a diploma and they have transcripts that we can utilize, then we're going to help them as best as we can. As far as facilities and everything else, I will turn it over to Mr. Masters, and then we're open for questions.
At this time, we've had no major purchases, but our governing council was able to approve bid that we received for the Halo and Vape system. We are waiting one from the same company through CEF for the magnetic door locks. So school safety has been one of the things we've been really working on this year, and we're planning to have that completed in July, but those will be our next really big expenditures. Right now, we're just really working on budgets. All the laws that were passed and waiting for signature right now. And here in a couple of weeks, I guess we'll see which ones were signed. But no. We stand for any questions.
Are your classrooms pretty full?
Our English and math classes tend to get full. We do have one that's at 19, and that's our English class, which is English for seniors. Our math classes also tend to get big, and I think our largest is 17. We try to keep it at 15. I know for next year, now that legislature is over, and we're trying to hopefully hire. It's gonna get creative. I've never heard of anybody doing this, an English/math teacher. So bilingual. Yes.
Bilingual English /
That is
That is, yes.
a lot of
Very
enforcement.
specific, yeah.
That way they can help us out with our
All of it.
overload on math, overload in English, and it's.
Well, if you find that person.
Right.
you will be able- That's gonna be a friend.
We have to grow those.
Yeah, yeah.
We have a young lady that's within in-house says she's gonna get her English degree.
Good.
She will get a bilingual certification. So we're hoping to get a waiver in getting her math, because that's another thing that she's good at. And so we're crossing our fingers, and I know that's hard to do, but we do with the best that we can with what we got. And I think we got a good staff. It's good.
Tell me again, how many employees do you have? Teachers and others?
So we have 22 employees. Of those, we have 6 teachers, 1 voc teacher who's also our grad teacher. And then we have an IA that is doing our edgenuity.
Yeah, thank you.
One of those teachers is CT.
Good, very good. Thank you. Any other?
Well, I just have a comment. I just wanted to let you know how I appreciate that you guys are ranting out, you know, when it comes to the adult basic education and the GED. I myself received the GED. Yeah, so that was many, many years ago, and it really laid the foundation so that I could continue like in education to the university and to higher learning. So I understand how important it is for adults to have that opportunity. And then when it comes to the incarcerated students, that's awesome
Yes.
too, because we all know that the more educated a person is and the more educated that it's a much better future for themselves and for their kids.
Absolutely.
So
That's
that's
right.
awesome. Absolutely good one.
Very well said. Thank you.
And then using it as a deterrent program as well. So as a term of our early release, that make sure they attend our night program. If they don't,
Yeah,
I applaud you guys for the
yes.
initiative and then the ingenuity that you guys have. That's pretty impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The other challenges, we try on a daily basis.
I'll just add one thing. I worked with the charter school and their beginning, and it's just so, I don't know what the word I want to use, but grateful how you've continued and grown and where you are today, and no telling where you're going tomorrow. But I know if anyone can do it, you too can. And your students and staff, because it's not one person, it's all.
We also, we don't forget that we're all one community.
Right.
And that's the most important thing. You know, for whatever reason, students may not function in a traditional high school setting. They have us,
A choice.
and then we're proud to serve the community.
Sure.
Right.
We're proud of y'all too. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And our next report is from our activities and athletics department, Mr. Chavez. And it's sitting right in front of me and I'm going like this.
So I would like to make just a quick intro. Mr. Kroll had asked at the last board meeting that we give an update on the GoFan and give an opportunity for the board to ask questions, raise concerns, that sort of thing. So that's the purpose of the presentation tonight.
Very good.
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Chavez, you know, as you guys know, we have had digital ticketing for the past few years, and it's been a great experience for our customers as well as our workers. You know, I have Imelda Chavez here, one of our administrative assistants, who is doing both the cash version of all this and now is doing the digital ticketing. So it's been a positive thing that we're doing, I believe. And also, you know, we actually get more praise than negatives, you know, and so we're there to help people if they have trouble. We're there to help people if they call our office. And so pretty much, I just think it's a positive thing. I know a lot of people do not like change, but I'm not an advocate of change. I'm an advocate of improvement. And I think that's something that's improving what we're doing. So. I'll stand for questions.
So when people come and do not have a ticket, they can do it right there at the electronically.
Yes.
Do they have to have their own phone?
No, if they don't have one, we are more than welcome. And we did that actually. I actually gave my phone to somebody in Hatch when we had that playoff game over there. What wasn't that tiebreaker against Silver? And we're able to do that. Our ladies are able to help anybody that's not able to do it. And, you know, we've had people call our office and ask, I'm not able to do it. Can somebody help me when I'm here? Right? Sure, we're great to help you, whatever you need. And, you know, we basically say, you know, if they're, you know, elderly or whatever, you know, we ask them, hey, how old are you? And they're like, well, you can come and get a pass from us, $5. And that's for the whole year. So that's it. Our senior citizen pass is $5. So if we ever have somebody come in and they're having trouble and we deal with that, I mean, we recommend that and they come in and they'll get their pass the next time after. And I'm thankful that you told us.
What age is senior citizen? I'm sure I don't meet that yet.
No, I'm sure you don't.
I almost love that.
55, well, I can't lie, I way over there.
And the reason why people say, well, why do you do the senior citizen? It's so cheap. And honestly, for $5 for the entire year, that those people have given to our community for so long, we want to give back to that.
I think that's wonderful.
So.
And it benefits everybody if they attend and are present, yeah. Can they buy those passes at the gate?
No, so we only do those at the activities.
And can I ask a question, Mr. Chavez?
Yes,
Why is it that they can't buy that at the game or there, the pass is right there? Wouldn't that be more convenient?
so the one thing is we do advertise at the beginning of the year, but that's also dealing with cash and we really don't want to deal with cash at that venue at that time, at ticket time. We are actually looking forward now, because I know part of the issue as well, the less cash anybody handles, the more accountable we are and the safer we are. You know, and everybody knows that. And so I'm looking at also to going cashless for our concessions as well. You know, there's some issues that we have because kids do help in concessions, and that's a problem. So they're the ones that are probably just gonna be handling the giving of the merchandise that we have there, and the adult sponsors are the ones that are gonna have to deal with that card portion. But we're looking at what's a convenience. The best way of doing that right now, we're looking at different systems, what's the cheapest fee, different things like that. And so I actually have a former student, Chris Ortiz, who has a food trailer, and he's kind of sent me some stuff on it. And so we're kind of looking into that as well. So, and I know some other schools around our area are looking at doing that as well. So.
Well, the biggest complaint that I get is that they take cash at the concession stand and they can't take cash right there. Literally, the concession stand's right there. And so I think you would benefit yourself is by next year that you would change that over to cashless so that it's even all the way through and that no one complains about it. If you feel that strongly, because I feel differently. I feel that we need to be able to take cash there. People don't have it, obviously, and maybe we should be able to do both. I know people are different about that because they feel they got to count money and there's a little bit more involved. But I think if we would do both, people would be much happier knowing that in the future that everything is going to be cashless. You know what I'm saying? So that's something to consider. Obviously, that's my consideration. This is a process that you guys put in place. You guys did that. We never voted on anything like that because I would not have voted for something like that. That's how I feel about it. And I've gotten a significant amount of complaints about it. So, but if you're going to go that way, I think you need to change that immediately, as quickly as we can for concession stands. And then there's no issues. Then nobody can say nothing. And you got to bring a debit card. You got to bring a credit card, or you got to go to Walmart and get one of them cards that you can put money on. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I think that would be the easiest way to do it. And maybe we should sell cards that people can put money on. I mean, something that simple. So that there would be no complaining and people would say, hey, it's fair all the way around, especially when people are, well, here's your money, and that's what happens.
Would you guys consider selling the season passes at the door? I mean, could it be a money maker? Could it be, is there?
If I can say something,
Yes, ma'am.
selling the season passes at the door would require having cash at the door. And not only is, I mean, we look at having cash at the door, counting the money. That's the small part of it. Right now, we have, I think, 2-3 security guards that work for us. It's also a security issue when we have 2 female, most of our ticket takers are female workers. I personally worked the South Gate when I was a ticket taker myself. It's dark over there. anyone can come and take that big cash box money from you. At the concession stand, it's a group, it's a centralized area, everyone is watching the area. So they're less likely, it's to try and take advantage of the situation. If we had more security also in place, then I think it would be also safer to have big cash box. I mean, if you've been to a football game, our South Gate cash box sometimes is $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. That's just sitting there at that South Gate, which is 2 female ticket takers, with limited security that has to walk the premises, watch all the kids that are running around, take care of the premises. We don't have a security guard just watching the money walk with us.
But at the concession stand, there's $3,000 or $4,000 there
Right,
also.
but as I said that,
I mean, that can be robbed also. I mean, it's not just you, that's also them. So there's gotta be a compromise here, because people do see that and they say, hey, I see money there and I can't come in here and pay my $4, not my $5. And that's the issue. So if we're gonna do this, and I think we need to just change the whole thing and say, hey, let's do it cashless. If you go to a sporting event, the Patriots or the Cowboys, everything is credit card. So, and I understand their whole, and maybe we should just do that. People are gonna be upset, but that way it's even kill all the way through the
But the
board.
basketball tournament was totally cashless. You
Yeah.
could
Right.
not.
And if they're able to do it, I don't see why we can't do it. And then nobody has nothing to say, and it is what it is, and we'll see the outcome the way it is at the concession stand. I'm sure things will go down.
another thing that I can say to that is that right now our biggest problem with GoFan is the Wi-Fi working on the cell phones. So when we have a ticket person come through with the GoFan, they have to shut off the Wi-Fi so that the cellular service takes over and it's faster. So I think that credit card service at the concession stand would take a lot of time to get it going until we get a better way to get the credit card to process. I don't know if we would need a mobile hotspot or something that would make the Wi-Fi work a little bit faster for us, because the football game lines are already long enough,
Yeah,
and so to have the credit cards processing, I mean, we're not, like we said, we're already talking about getting credit cards at the concession stand, but this is all stuff that we need to look into because our lines are already super long. So if we're waiting for the Wi-Fi, at least with GoFan, at the tickets, it's an easy fix. We say, can you please shut off your Wi-Fi on your cell phone and let the cellular service take over? And it's like this, it's almost instant.
Could it be a situation when GoFan have the ability just to, the cards are chipped now. So instead of having to enter your credit card number, could it be a situation where we have a reader, tap it, and then you're in the game,
There are
or
some,
something like that?
we can also do that. I know that GoFan does sell those items to be able to do that. And so we can also look into that.
I think that would speed up the process, especially at the concession stand.
What happens if someone comes and don't have credit cards? There are people still that
yeah, they're.
don't have credit cards. Do we turn them over to you? Do we?
So for a person who does not have a credit card for GoFan, we have had instances where they come to our office and we purchase a comp ticket for them. They can come pay cash in our office before game time, and we then purchase a
And how
comp
late is
ticket
your
through
office
GoFan.
open? Because
We
I've
are-
had people complain that they've gone by and there's no way in. And since-
Weekdays, we do leave work to go prepare, but we are there till 4 o'clock every day. Every day.
And maybe that needs to change.
So, yeah, to Mr. Roscoe's point earlier, so if we sold the senior pass, right, and paid cash for that wouldn't be the same amount of cash that you are getting traditionally with a cash football game, right? And then after like 2 or 3 games, you wouldn't be selling that many of them. I just think it's convenient because, and then you do have the problem of people that don't have the credit cards.
There are people,
I mean-
we think that are.
Right, even if like at the first couple games of each sport, if we could sell the senior citizen passes and maybe
I'll tell
even
you,
those
most
other
of the senior
tickets.
citizens that come to our games,
Uh-huh.
know to come get that pass. I'll tell you that. They
Okay.
know, they start calling in July. Do you have your passes ready, Mr. Chavez? And we'll say, they're not quite here yet. Give us a few more weeks because we get them from, and we have a sponsor. And we get those passes from, it's called Mascot Media. So once they secure a sponsor, that's when we get our passes.
Maybe advertise those at the gates whenever you're having the games, get your season passes and come see us, and maybe that'll
And we also,
help push some of the money too.
we also do that public release at the beginning of the year, the very beginning before the game, we send a press release for that. we do have this is the price of everything and, you know. So we do try to get out as much, you know.
Yeah.
Have you
money
had any,
on it, so everybody kind of knows.
yeah, I'm sorry. Have you ever had anyone that was upset because they couldn't get in?
I would say this past year.
No. No, and I will say this to the season passes, those first 2 weeks of football season, our office is so full of people that come in. I mean, we don't even have time to answer the phone at times because we are just selling pass after pass after pass, whether it be to a staff member, to a senior citizen, to a student. We do sell an awful lot of passes. So I'm just a little.
And that's
Can I
something
just-
that we receipt all the time in our office. We receipt that person,
Mhm.
just like we're supposed to when we get
Right.
that money. And so I like to keep that the same as well. And you know, if we do that, which we could, it slows down some things when we're selling their store. And that's so I'm
I just
trying-
wanted to speak to one thing. So I know that when you came in last a few meetings ago, I did express that I was kind of concerned about the dollar that goes to this company, the outside company. And so I still feel like that's quite a fee when you talk about how many people come to the games. And so is that like the lowest fee possible or
Yes,
there?
that is a lowest fee. And we actually have schools right now that do Go Fan around us.
Uh-huh.
For instance, Cobre, their tickets are 7 and 5 and they do Go Fan. And so our tickets have always been right now 5 and 3. So we're going around to different schools in our areas that are charging more plus that fee. So, you know, it's kind of crazy and ironic that we have all these schools that are, you know, similar situations to us and they're charging a lot more for their tickets and doing Go Fan as well.
I just got one more thing to say, and I'm gonna address Mr. Chavez. Mr. Chavez, do you feel that this is beneficial for our kids?
I do,
Do you think it's beneficial for our community?
I do.
And it's on you, man. That's, I don't have nothing to say. I will come into your office and all the people that have texted me, emailed me, will get a card from me. I will pay for their season ticket. That's what I'm gonna do because that's how I feel about it strongly. So I will come in and I'll probably get.
And I would hope, and I'll say this for
Yeah.
respectfully, that, you know, and I know I had some issues with Mr. Oscar with some community members on some different things. They're more than welcome. We can have them come to me as well. I would be. happy
I'm
to
gonna,
address
this
people.
next season, I'm gonna take care of it. I'm gonna go to everybody that emailed me, text me, and I will buy them their season pass. So that's how it's about it.
So with the point that Ms. Cameron made, so if somebody doesn't have a credit card, how does that work in your office? What are you selling them?
We still go through GoFan.
Okay.
And the thing is that we accept cash when we put it into our gate, just like it would go, and we still purchase the ticket that way.
And we
Okay.
send it to their email. So they're
Okay.
able to pull
They
it
do
out.
have to have an email.
So they would have to do it for every game. I guess I'm wondering if there's a way we could do it like a different season pass that isn't a senior pass.
No, the season passes are for everyone. They're not just senior citizen passes. We have.
Oh,
adult
okay,
passes, we have
okay.
season passes. We have
Oh,
passes for
okay.
everyone. They're just different prices. The senior citizen one is the one that happens to be $5.
Okay,
Mhm.
I
So
got you now.
What's the price of the other?
So adults that do not work for the school are $60. Students that do not participate in activities or athletics are $30. Students that participate in activities or athletics are $5. And teachers in the district are $10. Unless you work at Red Mountain or Deming, at Deming High School, then those are $5. And we chose Red Mountain and Deming High School, of course, for the $5 because that's where our sports are at. And we would, I think it's important for those teachers to come out and
Support their
those-
kids.
Yeah.
those students.
Any other questions or comments? As long as it rolls, and I'm sure that if there's someone that just couldn't do it, you'd help find a way around it.
Absolutely,
You know, I would hope that and would think from y'all you would.
absolutely.
Definitely. I've actually paid for tickets on my phone for somebody that didn't have one,
Yeah,
just so you know,
yeah,
just like my grandkids. when they didn't
Yeah,
have
right,
one
Right.
I know.
as well.
exactly.
You know, and just so you know
Yeah.
from our gate, so you all know, some people have questions about where our gate goes. It goes to help out, buys equipment, buys different things. It helps to send these young people who are paying for their transportation for it, and actually, I just found this out. So I told Mr. Hernandez that, they're using bows that were gonna be thrown in the trash. So I told Mr. Hernandez that I would buy him a brand new set of bowls so they can go represent. them.
Very well. Well, thank you for letting us grill you tonight. No, it helps us because we get those questions.
Right, and now we have
And-
the answers to.
Yeah.
And we will leave because we have elementary play date, and I would love to see more. See you.
Thank
That's
you. Oh, wow. Let's adjourn and go play. Okay, thank you. Next,
We're on to the consent agenda.
or do we have the students? Are they here?
We need the consent agenda. We're
You're
putting
right.
that in an action item.
Okay.
So do the consent agenda.
All right, we have your consent agenda before you. Do we have a motion to, we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as it has been printed. Would you take the roll, please?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mrs. Paez?
Yes.
Mrs. Hernandez?
Yes.
Mrs. Cameron?
Yes,
Mr. Crowe, yes.
thank you. The motion carries. All right, now we're on item 7, action items. We thank you all for having been stay this long with us.
Madam President, members of the board, we have action item A, which is consideration for Members Valley High School to travel out of state to Tucson in April. And Miss Victoria Hernandez is here to present.
Welcome.
I'm actually gonna give you, I have a little printout of the lesson plan for the field, the 2 different versions. So Members Valley has received an Atlas grant for about $30,000. And the caveat to that is that we provide our students with great real world experience. We planned several other trips. We're like booked all of April on trips, which is really exciting. We've already taken one trip to Alamogordo. We took the kids to White Sands and the Space Museum. We took about 40 kids and only one student has ever visited the places out of those 40 students. So these trips are really important for the kids. And that just kind of shows the gap in our demographics experiences, in real world problem solving, and then within STEM and history and other subjects that they learn. We would like our students, we'd like to the students to Tucson to get a little like out of our community experience, because we think that's also beneficial to them, especially if you know they haven't even been to Alamogordo. Arizona is a little different, so we provide them the much needed experiences that they can bring back to our community. So these 2 trips to Tucson will give our students opportunities to kind of see in action fields of study that they probably haven't considered before. And they get to talk with professionals in those fields. So the lesson plans I gave you, those are standards we cover in class, I cover in my science classes. And so we're just going to take that information and build on it with these trips. So Biosphere 2 is the world's largest controlled environment that is dedicated to understanding the impact of climate change. And, you know, one of our standards, it's not the one that I chose for the lesson plan, but they do study the impacts of climate change in class. So for this trip, I wanted them, aside from the tour with the professionals, seeing the grounds and seeing what they do and their studies on climate change, I wanted them to kind of in-depth see what we talk about when we talk about biomes and the environment and different communities. So what they're going to do is a little field experiment where they're going to do field observation of the different biomes and then bring that back to present, assign them a biome, and they'll do small group presentations on the water sources, flora and fauna available in the community, the different climates and how water affects them. And then we'll talk about how climate change would affect those biomes and then how those biomes are connected to everywhere else on Earth. The second trip, along the same vein, the botanical gardens are going to expose them to flora and fauna they've probably never even heard of before. And they're also going to be conducting field observations. So they're gonna take a meter area in the gardens and do a population study. So they'll look at the plants and animals, because there's gonna be bugs, lizards and things. They're gonna count in that area the flora and fauna, and then they'll bring it back and they'll make a biomass pyramid, which is just a mathematical representation, and see how energy is passed in a community. So like the producer level, there's going to be a significantly larger population of producers than consumers, and they'll get to see that and go through the entire engineering design process.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Do you need a chaperone?
Honestly, you can take my question. And then
Just
so-
offering my services.
I'll let them know. If we all go, Ms. Chavez will come with. The benefits for the students, these trips also offer the staff a benefit. On issues that we face regularly as members with being attendance and engagement. So the students are only allowed to come on the trips if they are passing their classes and are in the green or blue, so things like in progress on their online Edgenuity classes. So we're hoping that this makes the kids come to school more often to do their work, and they get their work done, and they're, you know, there's not any issues of like the kids sleeping or doing this, doing that. They're all working. And we've already seen that with this past trip down in Florida. So we're hoping it continues through the rest of the school year.
And how many kids,
Um,
if they all were to go?
if they all went, we're at capacity. I don't know if the virtual students would come.
But
But
the ones in your
So we have about 50 that come
50? Mhm.
into the building,
Okay,
and the opportunity is there for them. So if they all came, that would be great. But the last trip we had about 40, and we're hoping that they all come on the next.
Yeah. thank you.
Are there any other questions?
It's good to see the application and them going out to these things, not only enjoying it, but being able to apply what you're teaching them
Right.
and bringing it back
Great.
and it making a full circle
Oh,
on everything. It's really neat. And then keeping them engaged by having that, making them have good grades or making sure that they have the good grades to be able to go on these trips and attend school.
Yeah, the kids had a lot of fun. I didn't get to go on the trip with them, but I saw, they were like, you'll never guess, like, we had so much fun, and like, we buried this kid in the sand. And, like, we're all sliding down like, in the space. Cool, and they showed me all their pictures, and it's cute, and they seemed to have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Can I say something real quick? I do agree that it's really important for the students to get a diversity of experience. Because when I was working with the public schools, I would run across a lot of kids who had never really been out
Yes.
of this area. And people, you know, unless you see it firsthand, you don't really
Yeah.
understand that there are a lot of kids that have never had that experience. So even just going to the mall in Las Cruces, eating at a restaurant, riding an elevator, just all those kinds of experiences really make a difference for the student.
Yes.
So I'm pleased about this, and I think it's great.
Absolutely. Well, I also would like to add that just your enthusiasm means a lot, means that you really want this to be a good experience for them, not only to learn, but to travel, to be together, to a community. And I think it's a great, I think it's a great project. I think there are a lot of us here would like to go.
Right.
I would just want to hear the ocean. They're in the middle of it in the desert. I love
is
to
so
hear it.
cool.
Every time we would go, it's really
Yeah.
amazing.
That's cool.
Well, I haven't been yet, so I'm gonna have to figure out.
You need to
The
go.
ocean there,
Right.
you know, what goes back and forth, of course, it's generated, but it's really cool.
Right. I just wanted to add that we had an opportunity a couple of months ago to go see Members Valley
Yeah.
High School, and how impressive the students and the faculty
Right.
were.
Mhm.
I mean, they were just on task. They asked us really intelligent questions.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic
Fantastic, yeah.
experience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We
Need a motion.
need a motion to approve the trip out of state to Tucson, Arizona.
I make the motion.
All
I'll
right.
second that.
We have a motion and a second. Could you call the roll, please?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Roscoe,
Yes.
Mrs. Paez,
Yes.
Mrs. Hernandez.
Yes.
Mrs. Cameron,
Yes,
Mr. Crowe, yes.
thank you. We're excited for you and look forward to a report back. Thank you so much. And the students enjoy it too.
Okay.
Madam President, members of the board, now for a drum roll, we have our state archery team champions from Red Mountain, and they are going to go compete in Sandy, Utah. And Mr. Hernandez, their coach, and I believe Mr. Adriano are here to let's celebrate them, and then let's hear from you guys. Super excited.
And thank you for your patience.
Yeah, right.
And they're like, we never want to be. That's our second. That's fun.
Yeah, don't be shy.
Don't be shy. You guys are awesome.
So, Madam President, Board, Superintendent Chavez, and Mr. Turner, thank you all first for giving us this opportunity to come and ask for something huge that's gonna mean a lot to our team. I can sit here for 3 hours talking about the progress and where we've gone, where we started. But these kids they're amazing. They're state champs. They're a state champ for a reason. They went out there and earned it. They worked hard. And, you know, we're just asking for another opportunity to grow. So that's what we want. You know, we always want, we can't just stay in one spot. If there's an opportunity, I think we should take that opportunity if it's available. So we're here to ask, you know, for that approval to travel to Sandy, Utah. It's nationals, Western Nationals. It's a 2-day event. And it's, you know, most of our kids some of them haven't traveled out of, you know, 3 or 4 counties near us. And it's a huge opportunity for them to see what else is out there. And just the progress that these kids have made from the beginning. When Coach Ariano and I started this program back in September, you know, we weren't sure where we were gonna go with this. And it was the first ever, and it's just, you know, they've motivated Coach and I to keep going because they want more and more and more. They don't want to stop. You know, what do we need to do? Setting goals. They've set goals from the very beginning. Like I said, I can sit here for hours and.
Well, we might leave you in a little, yeah.
So no, they've just done an amazing job. We've seen changes. We've seen the changes in grades. Just how we're walking around the halls at school, you know, head held high and proud of what they've done.
So do you have a student or two that might tell us what this has meant to them?
I believe.
Come on, I'm sure you're talkers. I'm sure of it. You're middle school.
You don't have any trouble in the class. Just pretend like you're in the.
Well, you can sit right there. Just tell us what it's meant, what being involved in this has meant to you. Like what it's done.
Well, you're the honored one. They really respect you.
Jaden, is there a few words?
I've been more social since this.
That's important. Yeah.
Jaden has been a lot more social.
Nice.
That's something big.
It is, yes.
How many of you, is this your first year of archery?
This is our first year to have an archery team.
I know, but some
That's
people may have,
impressive.
like I know, some people came out to our farm and used to shoot.
Yeah, I'll share one thing. They've been kind of modest, but Mr. Hernandez and Mr. Ariano, they had a family night where these kids were able to bring family in to show them what they had done and how to shoot a bow. And,
Yes.
and what it was all about. And the interaction was great. Interaction that I hadn't seen on that level.
Yeah.
I mean, there's sports and there's interaction with parents and stuff like that, but that interaction was awesome to see. The competition the next day, the kids were engaged in the competition,
Nice.
but then the parents were in the stands watching. And then when they got a break, there was coaching going on. The parents were engaged in the whole thing. So it was really neat energy to see that these kids and the parents interacting the way that they did.
Yes, and
Yes.
to piggyback on Mr. Orozco, we had a, trying to think of the name, but it was a Friday bash where different activities going on at Red Mountain. And it was a Friday and it was the 13th, as a matter of fact, I believe. So, you know, we put on a little show on soccer field, and what we had is our archers, all 20, they were teaching our Red Mountain students how to shoot a bow. And so Coach Ariano and I, you know, coach is on one and I'm on the other. We're just, we have to monitor, make safety first. And we're just watching, and our archers can teach an adult the 11 steps of archery,
Nice.
which is what we follow, the 11
Yeah.
steps. And when Coach and I, you know, we saw, wait a minute, these kids are doing it, you know, that's pretty much like the highest level.
Right,
Right.
when you can teach, yeah.
What you've learned.
Right.
And so we thought, well, let's have a family night. I'm gonna teach your parents. And we have parents here that showed up. We had 19 archers show up with parents at night,
Nice.
and the kids were out, like Mr. Orozco mentioned, they were teaching their parents how to shoot a bow.
Wow.
That's
And then, of
awesome.
course, we had to have a competition,
Right.
which was very good.
So from my experience, I've been coaching for 22 years. I coached football, basketball, and track. And this was my first opportunity that I coached students who never participated in sports. And just the discipline when they installed themselves was tremendous. I ended up recruiting 4 special needs students from my classroom. And from my experience, I see these kids excel in the classroom and also on the archery tournament.
Nice.
That's
So
nice.
it was tremendous, you know, we have like, for instance, Jaden, he's one of our kids that just never taught before. And all of a sudden, he's just. And another experience that I had was we were going to the state tournament. We walked in with our jerseys and so forth. A lot of people want to know where we're from. And I said, we're from Denny, down south. And they never heard from us, you know?
Right. It's the first year.
Nice. Wow, congratulations.
And then you showed them, yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Parents, you got anything?
Parents? So. Sorry, I get a little more.
Yeah, of course.
I taught him archery when he was little, but he gets to be part of a team.
Yeah.
He disciplined himself, takes to bed on time, gets up early, wants to go to practice, wants to stay after. Loves spending time with his friends. He gets on, at campus, goes me his grades, test at him, freaking this up, and, you know, my standard is above the school standard. And this is pushing him to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I do want to, just, you know, like Mr. Chavez and Mr. Chavez left from activities, right? I really wanted to thank them for, supporting and helping fund our trip. They are covering our transportation, fees and this morning I did get a call from Mr. Chavez, and it was so cool that say, you know what, we're gonna help you with some more equipment, because this is, Coach and I really see this growing. I mean,
Yeah.
we started with 44 and we ended with 21 actually. And I would be very surprised if we're below 30 next year, maybe even 40.
Yeah.
I would
Very
be
cool.
surprised. And if anyone would like to attend our practice, we have 21 archers that can teach you how to do the 11 steps of archery. We would love to have you
That is
come over
amazing.
to Red Mountain after.
I would have to have a one-on-one.
Because
Because Mr. Cameron can do it, but you know, your husband teaching you is not.
Same.
Right.
bring Mr. Cameron in.
Yeah, well, we're very, very proud of you and proud of what this will mean to you in the future. I don't think our students always understand that these are the things that build to make you successful. And when you get ready for college, when you have these types of activities on your what's the word?
Yeah.
Resume, it really does, catch the eyes. And especially if it's something that's just not the traditional, traditional is great, but then that you've done traditional, but added other things that are not so, that are coming and growing, but not there yet. So we are really, the board really, we're behind you, and we look forward to you coming back and showing us your medals and all.
Yeah.
And, but just know that you have a board here that supports you 101%.
And a superintendent.
And a superintendent and all, and
District.
You have a
the whole district is behind you. Teachers, EAs, I don't care what your secretaries, we're all rejoice when our kids participate, because we know that that's another step that you're making towards success in life when you get out of school.
Well, thank you. And I think that's another reason that we've been so successful, because of the support system. I believe that's what it takes, a team, not just coaches and players or archers, but I tell you, our parents have been so supportive. It's been wonderful. And our admin, it's from top to bottom, it's just been great. And I really believe that's part of the reason we've had the success so far. And we hope to continue moving forward.
We grow champions, guys.
Yeah,
Right.
That's
In
our
a
focus.
year, less than a year.
Thank y'all and good luck, and we can't wait to see all of those, whatever they give you, ribbons, whatever they give you. We look forward to
Thank
seeing
you
that.
so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you all being here. Thank you. Now it's your turn to get a motion. It's your turn to get a motion and approve.
Oh, yes. We do need to do that. I would entertain a motion for the approval of this Red Mountain Archery Team out-of-state travel to Sandy, Utah, April 27th through 30th, 2023.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Go ahead.
No, you got it.
Yes, everyone must go. We have a motion and a second. Would you take the roll, please?
Yes.
The vote, please.
Mr. Orozco,
Yes.
Mrs. Paez,
Yes.
Mrs. Hernandez.
Yes.
Mrs. Cameron.
Yes.
Mr. Crowe, yes, and congratulations. guys.
Yes,
Yeah.
congratulations. Thank you.
Please let us know if you guys have any fundraisers or anything. We'd be more than happy
Yeah.
to support you. guys.
Yes,
Yeah,
for sure.
we are definitely
Yes.
wanting to get approval first.
Yeah.
Yes.
We move any further.
Yeah.
So we will be looking at.
Please let us know.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
We will come visit
Please
you all.
do.
Thank
And
you
if
all.
y'all go to the world champs, let us know.
Because the board has to go with you.
Yeah, it's a requirement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for your patience.
Appreciate it.
I just think it's so exciting to see our students come and
That's what it's about.
and all that they're learning and being able to participate in, including the botanical gardens and trip too. I think it's just great for them to be able to go out and experience what could be and what can be, not could, but what can be. So, okay, we're on the,
Item C. So, Madam President, members of the board, we're on item C, consideration of the budget adjustment request, and Ms. Doyle is on Zoom to go over those 6 bars.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Chavez. Those are some pretty tough acts to follow with great kids and experiences. I'm going to try and make these as exciting as possible for you, but I can't really hold a candle to those presentations. The first bar that you have before you is an operational increase bar, and this is basically our yearly adjustment for our unit value and membership adjustments. The next bar that you have before you is for Project Lead the Way. This is a grant from that the high school approved or applied for and got approved for. This is for a computer science and engineering pathway. So they're looking to do that. We also have our final allocation for Carl Perkins. you'll notice that there is a portion of that, the majority of it actually goes to the charter school, so they have their application or their allocation there. We also do have our final allocation for ARP. That's number 7 that you'll see, and that is budgeted primarily for summer school supplemental pay. Then finally, we did receive our extended learning transportation allocation. This will help with, it won't cover by any means, but it does help defer some of the costs for our ELT program for transportation. And then finally, we're doing a final adjustment. We've almost expended all of our funds for this, all of our budget for this fund, but this final one will be moving what we have remaining into our construction. I'm sure many of you know that the construction prices are going higher and higher, and so we are moving these funds to help cover some of those unexpected increases. And then, oh, I'm sorry.
No, go on.
Oh, then finally finally we do have our CTE program. This is our final allocation for the year as well. There is also a portion of this that belongs to the charter school, about 7,100. And with that, I will stand for any questions on the bars.
Any questions? Or comments? Then if not, do you have anything to say?
Okay.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve them.
do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second for approval of our budget adjustment request as Mrs. Doyle just presented to us. Would you call the roll, please?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Roscoe,
Yes.
Mrs. Paez,
Yes.
Mrs. Cameron,
Yes.
Mrs. Hernandez.
Yes.
Mr. Crowe, yes.
Okay, the motion carries. Thank you, Mrs. Doyle, for all your work on this. Okay,
Madam President, members of the board, we have item D. We are starting to work on some security projects as well, just like the charter school. Actually, we've been working on them. One of the items is security window tint and film and card access. Mr. Ou, I believe, is online, and we also have Ms. Stoffer here if we're not able to have George connect. But the card access is a pilot program. Are you able to, yep, there's Mr. Ou. So I'll let you take over.
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Chavez. So what you have before you a price proposal from AC Construction to provide and install some Windows security film for 5 different school sites. Those sites being Columbus Elementary, Baton Elementary, Red Mountain Middle School, Memorial Elementary Limited at Memorial, and also at Ruben S. Torres. So these specific sites were, we decided to start there just because of their vulnerability to traffic, people simply being able to access the facility through the outside unimpeded. And also some features of that security film, besides the tensile strength that it would provide, it's a deterrent. I personally was involved in a hands-on demonstration down in Las Cruces, and I can tell you that the 4x4 window that we were trying to break through, it took us a while, and that aluminum bat bent. So I can tell you that it surely is a deterrent. Some of the other added features of it are the privacy part of it. We've chosen, or we've decided to go with a silver finish. That allows us to be able to see from the inside out, but there's no ability to see from the outside in. It gives us that privacy that we need in those classrooms. The other added benefit to this is I'm trying to think, it gives us the energy efficiency part of it that we're going to gain because of the rating on it. It gives us about a 98% ultraviolet block. So with that said, we also reached out to PNM, and we are able to take advantage of about a $7,200 rebate that they're willing to give us. And with that, I'll stand for any questions on the Armor Coat window film.
I just got a few questions. How, when you seen the demonstrations, what they shoot it, or did you guys hit it with the sledgehammer, or how did?
It was an aluminum baseball bat.
Oh,
So in the flyers that, or the information that was provided to you, there's an example where they took a bat to one of them, and I think inside of a minute, they're able to break through a regular glass without the film. And it took over an hour and 10 minutes with the window security film on it. It's a really great product. Like I said, there's some really good added features to it. And we're getting a really good price. And then of course, we're getting the rebate. It is not bulletproof though, Mr. Kroll.
It's not, I was just curious about it, that's it.
Yeah.
Could you tell me again where these are going to be? All of our windows, or is it a, process to?
So Madam President, so the schools that we decided to put these on are Columbus Elementary, Baton Elementary, Red Mountain Middle School, the secure vestibule, which will be a clear film on it, and Ruben S. Torres. And they're going on the classroom windows right now.
Thank you. Any other questions or comment?
Is this something you're gonna be in contact with law enforcement, local law enforcement? Because obviously if a situation arises, law enforcement's not gonna be able to see in either. So is this something you're gonna try to make those kinds of modifications to allow law enforcement to either get in the building some other way, or at least be made aware of the situation with the tent?
So Madam President, Mr. Orozco, yes, we have been in contact with our Director of Security, Mr. Hassel. He is aware of where this security film is going. And we're also looking at possibly adding the clear tint or the clear film to the doors that access the hallways. The thing with the silver finish on the classrooms, it gives us that privacy, so that we don't have people easily accessing the facility through the outside and being able to peep in or look in.
Okay, other comments or questions? Seeing none. I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, we have a motion for approval of purchase for security window tent film and card access purchase. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop we haven't discussed the card access.
Oh,
So we can,
we'll,
if
Oh,
so,
you're right. You only did it.
we'll table that till we finish.
sorry, it just dawned on me.
No, you're right.
I apologize.
We got obsessed with
Oh,
that.
good. Let's write that down.
Yeah,
Write that down for that.
So.
So Madam President, yeah, members of the board, Mrs. Superintendent Chavez, yeah, so I paused at the security film just to give you guys some time to digest that. Another thing that we've been looking at, and it was part of the 22 bond, and it's part of our security around the district, and the importance of security is card access. Because card access is going to fall, later on in the next couple of years because of some priorities like my little school or central kitchen, we decided to look at 2 pilot projects, those being Deming Intermediate and Central Office, to really work out the kinks and really understand logistically what we're getting into, what it's going to look like, and how we can adjust to it once we implement it later on down the road. So what you have before you is a price proposal from a contractor to install and provide all the equipment necessary for installation of card access at Deming Intermediate and the admin office on Cody. With those, there's a limited amount of card access points that were chosen by the district. as well as door contacts on every exterior door so that the district or security is able to really tell when a door is left open, and really address it so that we're not lacking in security. And with that, I'll stop for any questions. One thing real quick so the price proposal that you have before you, I think is for about $86,000. That does not include taxes or bonds. I do not see that going over 100. So if you wanted to approve up to 100, I think that would be fair.
Okay, thank you for that suggestion. Okay. Anything else you want to bring up before we? Do I have a motion?
Now we can make a motion.
Yes.
You want to make that motion?
So whoever,
So now the motion would include up to $100,000.
Yes.
So I make the motion that we approve the card access and what was the other?
Security
Windows up to $100,000
on the card access.
on the card access.
Yes, perfect.
Okay, do we have a second?
Okay, I'll second. Gonna see if
We have a motion and
Bobby's gonna beat
I'm
me
gonna
to
have to assign these. Have a motion and a second for the approval of the security window temp film and card access purchase. Could we have the roll call, please?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Orozco,
Yes.
Mrs. Paez,
Yes.
Mrs. Hernandez.
Yes.
Mrs. Cameron.
Yes,
Mr. Kroll, yes.
thank you. The motion carries. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Looking all
Thank you,
around,
Tina.
you're right.
All around. Madam President, members of the board, we are on action item E, consideration and approval of funding application for bilingual programs. Mr. Chavez, did you have anything to add that you'd like to share? It's just our annual application. And he's here for any questions that you might have.
Have a question?
I just had one comment.
Sure.
Just, I know how difficult those applications can be, so we appreciate your work.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I will comment to that, member Vice President Prior. So, I know that we've all been told that PED is trying to help us with the amount of paperwork. And I haven't seen that in any other grants, but this one.
Oh,
So they really, if it's a continuing program, they did,
oh, wow.
I want to say by 90%.
Wow. Wow, that's impressive.
So,
That's good.
really the last piece to send it off is your signature.
Yeah.
And if it's an initial program, it's extremely expensive, but they decided that why make us recreate the bill if we're protecting the diamond and continuing with the programs.
So maybe we should write a note to us.
And so that also helps. We try to take as much of the burden away from the schools and from the building leadership to rear. So now they're taking things off of our plate just a little bit and down to the principals as well, so they don't have to really worry.
That's great news. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. All right,
I'll make a motion that we approve the funding application for the bilingual programs.
and do I have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Could we have the roll call, please?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Orozco,
Yes.
Mrs. Paez,
Yes.
Mrs. Cameron,
Yes,
Mrs. Hernandez.
Yes.
Mr. Kroll, yes.
the motion carries. Thank you for your work.
Thank you.
And all of these, if I haven't said it before, I know all of these are hours and hours and years and years, months and months of work. Okay,
So Madam President, members of the board, action item F is consideration and approval of a resolution authorizing the disposal of equipment from student nutrition. And we have Ms. Ginger Jones as well as Mr. Nunez here to speak to this or answer any questions. I'm sorry, why do I have Nunez on here? Mr. Wertz is here. Sorry. Surprise.
well, you got out of that one.
Yeah.
President Cameron, members of the board, Superintendent Chavez. As promised last month, when I presented, we had a bunch of stuff to put up on auction. I think they'll be back this month.
Right.
We're back. The team up, she's had a whole bunch of kitchen items that have been removed from service around the district and they've been piling up and.
Probably when I was still teaching, I mean,
Probably
up here, not
There are
teaching.
items actually that came out of the old high school and old Hope Backend building, and we've just been storing them. So we initially did that just to utilize equipment around the district in our kitchens that we could, and we've done that. And now what is left, we're just ready to go ahead and dispose of.
That's right.
So we're looking at around 61 line items, I think, so. Fridge,
Bottom of that.
We appreciated that too.
yes, for the student nutrition part, and then an average of probably, value of, maybe 180,000.
Mhm.
If bought new,
If,
Right.
yes.
right.
And then most of it is well used.
Yes.
And, you know, to be honest, most of it could work, I guess, with the right hands on it, but at this current time, it doesn't.
Yeah.
So, and there's a few items that were added on that we had come in after I presented last month or that we had missed. And, so overall, we have quite a few items on there. These, I will be assisting. We work together because I have the access to the public surplus and I'll be listing it all in public surplus and getting it all going.
Great.
We also had a couple of local entities come in. So we had the detention center, we had Star Max, and then we had the senior center. We let them come in and take a look at some of our items. And there are some things that they do want for their facilities. So we're making sure that those items work and we're going to donate those to them. And so we'll follow through with the appropriate paperwork to donate, the usable items to those entities.
It's great to share with the community when we can.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Any questions or comments? If not, I would entertain a motion for the approval of the resolution authorizing the disposal of equipment for student nutrition.
I'll make that motion. I'll second that.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Would you take the roll, please? Vote, please.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Roscoe,
Yes.
Mrs. Paez,
Yes.
Mrs. Cameron,
Yes.
Mrs. Hernandez.
Yes.
Mr. Crowe, yes.
Okay. The motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you both. All right, Madam President, members of the board, our next action item is G, and it's the MOU between Deming Public Schools and Deming Cesar Chavez for next school year for facility support. So we have Mr. Wertz and Mr. Nunez on this one.
Good evening.
We're going to give a plaque to the one that gives the most presentations. No money. No money, but you'll get a plaque.
So what you have before you is just a simple MOU. This MOU has been, I think this is the fourth one that we've had. We've made no changes to it other than the leadership and people that need to sign. It seems to be working for us and I hope it's working for them. And I don't really have any, we'll stand for questions. We don't have anything to change on it.
No questions.
Any
Good
questions?
collaboration. Thank you for that.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
very good.
And then we're very pleased with all the,
That's the way it's supposed to work, just all the way through.
thank you.
Yeah.
And I could have done the disposal, by the way. Thank you.
Well, we are one of the districts. Sometimes there's a lot of conflict,
Yeah.
but we're very, I think,
Amicable.
amicable among each other, because what we do for one student, also we
Benefits
do it for
everybody.
every child.
That's correct.
And those down that are coming back up, that will be coming up.
Correct.
Well, I think the reason why it works is they're the ones that instigate the call. They put the work order in and we go do it. And so we're not over there picking on them saying, fix this, fix this, fix this. But as they see that it needs to be repaired, they put it in and, I figure they're the ones paying, are gonna have to pay for it. So they need to make sure that they want it fixed before we go over there and do the work. And then the guys are excellent in getting us there pretty quick.
We're talking about in a day, less than a day.
I don't mean to go off topic, but how many people under you, Mr. Wertz, that work with you to go out and?
In the facilities,
Uh-huh.
we got about 23.
Plus custodians.
The custodians, I got another.
I was gonna say you're closer to 70, 80.
I have about 70.
Yeah.
Well, let them know we appreciate what all they do. I don't think they get enough credit for,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
we say, oh, the building looks great, or this looks great, but
There's times it wears on you and you feel like nobody appreciates you. But
well,
I don't think at the day it is because we know that things just wouldn't happen.
well, let everyone know that we do.
We do appreciate it.
We appreciate it.
Okay, I guess we better make a
Motion.
motion before we forget, forget that.
Okay, I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. We have the call for the vote, please.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Orozco? Yes. Mrs. Paez?
Yes.
Mrs. Cameron?
Yes,
Mrs. Hernandez?
Yes.
Mr. Crow, yes.
thank you. The motion carries.
And Mr. Nunez stayed up front because
Right.
Madam President, members of the board, action item H is the MOU with Deming Cesar Chavez and Deming Public Schools for student nutrition along
Madam
with Ms.
President,
Jones.
members of the board, Superintendent Chavez, the MOU is a standard MOU that we had with the charter school for many years, and it's just to ensure that our charter school students receive the exact same meals that our Deming Public School students receive. So any meal, any service that we provide for DPS, we provide for the charter school.
And they're wonderful. I'm telling you right now, the kids always talk about how good the food is. And I always go around and ask, how's the food today? It's good. Normally at first, like a few years, it would ask for salt. They wouldn't even ask for that.
Very good. Very good.
They have to go to my office for salt. But they have.
And so with that MOU, our team is the one that does the delivery and then the service of the food as well. Dan, for any questions?
Any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve the MOU.
I'll second that in great
Okay.
collaboration. When things flow like that, it makes it better.
Yeah.
It is wonderful.
Yes.
Collaboration.
Okay. Then we have a motion and a second, entertain the call for the vote.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Orozco?
Yes.
Mrs. Paez?
Yes.
Mrs. Hernandez?
Yes.
Mrs. Cameron?
Yes,
Mr. Crow, yes.
the motion carries. I still feel like I'm the grandmother of the charter school.
Oh, you were part of that.
I was-
Right at the beginning.
I had a superintendent that really gave me that opportunity, but I'm glad she did because I learned a lot about that. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Madam President, members of the board, that takes us to our last action item I, and it is with the MOU with the charter school and special student services, and we have Ms. Boggs and on Zoom, and of course, Mr. Nunez in person.
Mr. Nunez really wants that plaque, Ms. Cameron.
Yes, I know.
We like seeing you, but you got a picture, so.
Hello, Mrs. Boggs.
Hello. I wasn't sure if Mr. Nunez was going to talk or I was, but Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Chavez, the MOU with the charter school is pretty much the same as it was last year. There have been some very minor changes, such as changing SAT to multi-layer system of support. And that's pretty much, it's just a few semantic things that we've changed. It's exactly the same as it was before. So I make a recommendation that we continue that relationship with the charter school. They're doing a great job.
And may I add to this, one of the wonderful things that are, we're really close to 1 FTE with our SPED population. We're about 20 students there, and we have 1 facilitator and 1 EA. And Ms. Boggs in her office always invites us to their facilitated trainings. So without that support, our SPED wouldn't be that right now. So we really do appreciate that collaboration. So yeah, it's minor changes and luckily we were part of the audit and glad to report that, yes, we fit right in. Good. Yes.
That's great. That's great. Well, you have a good person that helped lead you in that too. Yes. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, if not, entertain a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding with DPS and Diving Cesar Chavez for 23-24 for special student services. I'll get that all out in a minute. Now I can read it and let it flow.
I'll
Okay,
second.
we have a motion and a second. Would you call the roll, please, first?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Roscoe? Yes. Mrs. Paez?
Yes.
Mrs. Cameron?
Yes,
Mrs. Hernandez?
Yes.
Mr. Crowe, yes.
thank you. The motion
Thank
passes and thank you both. Okay, I think now is the superintendent's report. You said you had about an hour?
Yeah, it's about an hour. No, it's actually very quick because there was so much tonight regarding the different things happening at the schools, but I think it's really important to highlight and congratulate our secondary schools. Yesterday was Next Step Day, an academic planning day where we invited families to come in from the 8th grade to the high school, and they came with their parents, and we had almost 300 students, 300 parents join their kids, and they did a great job at our secondary schools, just welcoming them to what school is it when you go to high school, and sharing with them what the next steps are in terms of choosing, like, how do you graduate in white if that's really important to you, and just all the different components. They had stations for them to go to, and then they did an expo in the gym to show them all the different activities they could participate in. And yeah, it was really great. Did you guys hear any feedback from your 8th graders today?
Oh, they loved it.
Oh, good.
They're ready, huh?
By saying if we didn't show up, we have to stay another year, so.
Yeah.
No, they loved it,
They did a great job.
and I think we're already planning for next year. now.
Yeah.
Involve some more career,
Opportunities for the kids, yeah.
and probably a couple of career days. we can have there as well.
That's great.
So just to improve upon it.
I think they also like hearing and seeing the other students presenting stuff to them. I know some of my other kids at the high school were part of that presentation, and so they really like the aspect of being able to help the graders come down.
Nice.
Wonderful.
It was a
That's
great
Yeah.
experience.
Very
So
good.
heard good things.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to announce that. So that's it. That's it.
That's it? That's all?
That's it.
All right. Do we, under announcements, do we have any requests from board members for agenda items?
I don't have a request, but I would also like to make a consideration of the basketball team. They did make it to the state championship
Recognition.
recognition.
Yeah,
I guess.
definitely.
And then also the cheerleaders too. I think they did,
Yeah.
I think they did win also something in
Yes.
state. So
You're right.
I would like to recognize.
They were
them.
the cheer spirit,
Spirit,
I believe, state
State
champs, if
champions,
I,
yeah.
yes.
And so I
So
do
we'll
want to
bring them next
recognize them that we do have amazing
Agreed.
kids
Agree.
that are doing really well.
I agree. Definitely.
That's a great idea. Thank you.
And then I just wonder, I don't know if this is an agenda item, but there's a lot of bills on the governor's desk, right? That affect us. And I'm just kind of wondering where we're gonna be with the calendar and
So,
when
you know,
we're
what, I
gonna
should-
know what we're
I should
doing.
have said that in my superintendent's report. I didn't write that one down. We actually, just as an update to the calendar, went to every school, got feedback, from staff members. We did a survey that we pushed out to the community, got a ton of feedback from that. And what we've developed is 2 basic calendars. We're weeding through where the bills have landed is we do have to do 1140 hours. It's gone up 1,140 hours, all students K-12. K-5, K-3 plus, ELT has been sunset because they increased the instructional hours. So that's not an option to run it like it had been. And so based on the feedback we received, what that turns into in terms of the number of days, it does look like it's going to increase our days about 10 total. But that includes 12 PD days and 2 parent. And I say PD, but I mean, some of those are planning days. We just call them all professional development because when teachers are planning, they're also and working in their classrooms. That's part of professional learning and preparing. So we're trying to come up with those final pieces. We have a few things like we need to get pre-K. We want to make sure one of the feedback we received was that pre-K needs to run the same as our schools, because sometimes we had pre-K kids when we didn't have the rest of the students. And so we're working to get that finished. Monday, the 2 calendar options will go out for staff and community vote. We're going to keep it open for about 10 days. And then we're going to, maybe not quite 10 days, we're going to have a work session. So that's on my thing to announce under announcements, is to have a work session on April 5th for you all, as well as the community, to give us any final feedback. We'll have the survey results. We'll be able to finalize anything that we need to finalize, and then have it on the April board meeting for approval.
Okay.
So that's the timeline.
Will that be at night?
Your April board, yes, the April 5th work session is at 5:30. And of course, the next board meeting is
Yeah.
April 20th.
I have a real quick question.
Sure.
When it comes to the presentation that we had for the solar panels, have you heard anything back from them?
We have not, but that was a federal state program that they were applying for. Have you heard any more?
April 23rd.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I knew it was a longer time frame. I just didn't know when. Thank you. Yes. So no, we haven't. Along the lines of the calendar, though, I do want to say that we are working to figure out possibly how we might offer some summer camps for kids. Because there was definitely a split from our parents, people who did not want their kids in school in the summertime, the month of July, and people who did, said, my kids need something to do. It was literally almost a 50-50 split. So we're trying to think through like how we might be able to offer something, because there is funding available that we might be able to access once PED does the rules around all the laws that have been now submitted, that we might be able to offer some summer camps like in July that would be different, but it would be choice, completely choice. And we would call them like enrichment camps, things like that.
Good.
So we'll see what we're able to do. We're still waiting on rule.
Okay, great, great. Okay. Anything else? Anything for the next agenda? I mean, next meeting? Any agenda items? Anything else?
So I do want to thank First New Mexico. I want to First Savings Bank. They do have the debit card program, and she wasn't able to stay till the end, but that debit card program gives a percentage back when people use it to the schools, and it's $1,875, I believe, is what I saw. So that's a really neat program, and we appreciate First Savings very much for their work on that and offering it.
And how much did we get back?
It was $1,875, and it's an annual. They do it, they keep it and then give us a check once a year.
Yeah, great.
So yeah.
Very good. That's great. Okay. Anything else? All right. Well, if not, then we will adjourn our open meeting and move into closed executive session. Do we need a motion?
Yes.
We need a motion to go into closed executive session. And wait a minute, and I have to read.
No, they have to read it.
Okay. Who's making the motion?
Who's good? Yeah.
I guess you are.
I guess so.
Do you have a motion?
I apparently do. I move that we adjourn the regular meeting of the Board of Education and move into executive closed session for the purpose of discussing limited personnel matters as authorized by section 10-15-1H2 of the Open Meetings Act, including the evaluation of superintendent and also the discussion of threatened or pending litigation as authorized by section 10-15-1H7 of the Open Meetings Act.
No action.
And no action will be taken.
Okay. And we don't have to take a second. We need a second, please.
I'll second it.
Would you do the call for the roll call, please?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mrs. Paez?
Yes.
Mrs. Hernandez?
Yes.
Mrs. Cameron?
Yes.
Mr. Crowe, yes.